Hey everybody, this is Vril, and today we're going to have a look at Battlefleet 2. First, I wanted to thank Mythical City Games for providing me with a copy of the game. Battlefleet 2 is a World War II turn-based naval strategy game where players are faced with both tactical battle decisions, as well as strategic choices like building and customizing their fleet, and what territory to hold on to. The game features both Pacific and Atlantic campaigns, and a variety of ships from submarines to carriers to destroyers, as well as quick battles and cross-platform multiplayer. Battlefleet 2 is available on Steam for Windows and Mac, as well as the App Store for iPad and Google Play for Android tablets. Alright, so getting started, in the Victory at Sea playthrough we played as the Germans of the Atlantic. In this series we're going to play as the Japanese in the Pacific. So there are two options with these campaigns. We can play the historic mode, or we can play a mode called the Clean Slate, where you don't start with any ships or anything like that. The historical mode, you'll start with different fleets around the map. So like I said, we're going to play as the Clean Slate, so we'll end up building our own fleet. Now, we do have a bunch of different territories that we already hold. Each of these territories is worth a certain amount of prestige, 5 mostly. Our main areas like 10 and 20. We use this prestige to buy our fleet, so we start out with 2,400. And the place you actually build your fleet are denoted with this anchor, so in Japan and Korea and Hokkaido. You can build your fleet. For the US, if you were in Hawaii or the West Coast around probably San Diego, then you'd be able to build your fleet there. So let's go ahead and build our fleet. What I like to do is build a carrier and a cruiser and a couple destroyers. And then we also, let me move into the destroyer here. Got 1,300, and then we also need a transport. The transports are pretty useless when it comes to combat, but they allow you to capture territory. Some of the different territories will take like 1 or 2 or even possibly more. I think 2 is the maximum that I've seen. Like taking Hawaii, I think takes 2 transport ships. So this will be our first fleet, and we'll build one in Hokkaido as well, just to have a couple fleets. We'll build the same thing. We'll build a carrier and a cruiser and a couple destroyers and that transport, just like we did. Not really, the destroyers should be good for, they have depth charges and submarine detection. Depth charges should be able to take out the submarines. Now you can actually edit these and tweak their loadouts a little bit. I'm not going to go into any of that. I just will note that you can do that. Let's build this final transport and finish that off. We won't be able to move this round because we just built everything, so we'll go ahead, end our turn, and we will go ahead and then move. I'm thinking to have 2 fleets, obviously. I'm going to have one head towards Midway, and then I'm going to have one kind of parallel side by side with him and capture Pacific Zone D and Pacific Zone B. And I'm guessing that the Americans, they've got 2 fleets here, one in the West Coast, one, they'll probably be heading towards Australia and capturing like the Gilbert Islands, possibly New Guinea here, but we'll keep an eye on that and try to interdict them at some point. But first we're going to try to rush towards Midway. I do have 330, I think it said, so I'm going to build another cruiser, but we won't be able to move that one this round. Let me go ahead and move towards, let's see, either one of these works, Volcano Islands. Move that, and in Hokkaido we will move as well. Okay, so that's good for this turn. Now we are playing, I don't know if I mentioned, we are playing on the intermediate difficulty. There are 3 difficulties. I'll discuss that a little bit more once we get into the actual battle here. So we did move. Let's move these guys to Wake Island, and then we'll move on into Midway. You can see the Americans are moving probably towards the Gilbert Islands, and we'll head towards Midway, as I already said. So we'll end up capturing the Pacific Zone D. We annexed it. There was nobody in there, so that's good for us. Alright, and we can actually go ahead and build... Let's build one more cruiser, and then I'll probably build a couple destroyers after that. Like escorts, and because we don't want to leave cruisers around by themselves in case they encounter some submarines, something like that. Okay, so we've already moved this one. Just making sure that we did that. Okay, so we lost the Gilbert Islands as we were expecting. The Americans did leave back one of the ships in Pacific Zone E. And we're going to end up taking Midway, looks like. Can we actually... hold on a second. Cancel out of that. No, we do not have any recon. There's nothing there. Not that we need to recon, but let's move our fleet into Midway. So easy taking Midway there, and we'll gain that prestige with that. Now with the Pacific Zone D fleet, we're going to move into Pacific Zone B, and there will be 3 ships there. Do not know what these ships are exactly, and we cannot recon, but I would guess that there's probably a cruiser and a destroyer, and we should be able to take them out pretty easily, I think. So let's go ahead and attack. So here we are in the... we've got the USS Missouri, a battleship. Okay. So this could be interesting. Battleships have a lot of firepower. So we've got a battleship, a transport, and a frigate. So frigate's pretty easy, but we are going to have to focus on this battleship first of all. So let's see what we've got here. So transport. Do have some different little items that we can pick up that are around the map. The combat here is mainly like, I would say, mainly like worms a bit, so let's go ahead. We are destroyer actually, so let me go ahead, move as fast as we can. I thought we were the carrier at first, but apparently not. So this is going to be quite difficult to take down this battleship. I wish we would have reconned this area, but that is where we are at. And we've got 3,000. I think it's just out of range, but I'll try taking a shot at him at full range. I think he's just out of range, though. Yeah, he's just out of range. Okay, so we cannot do anything. And our transport will certainly not be able to do anything at all, because they only have one. We've got our entire fleet like really packed up here. Kind of move them apart, I would think. Got our another destroyer, okay. Probably go ahead and move towards... we'll go ahead and move towards them. And I think we might be able to attack. Let's see what we've got. We've got 3,000 range. We could probably attack this. Was that a frigate or transport here? A little bit inaccurate there. Let's move in like this, and actually... it's probably not going to be all the way to 3,000. Let's try 2,800 or so. Perfect. Okay, so that was good. Let's go ahead and do a salvo shot. This will fire all of our forward-facing turrets at this ship. Okay, so they took out the torpedo launcher, I think. We've got one more. I guess we didn't fire this one. He just missed, okay. And we've got We've got a torpedo. Obviously, we can't use that at this short of range. These would be depth charges if we needed them, and we've got some rear-facing turrets if we needed them as well. Don't think... What was the angle on this thing? Okay, yeah, not quite to that. Battleship is really going to be difficult to take down. I actually haven't faced a battleship yet in this game, so we will see what we can do against it. Hopefully we don't lose too much. I think we'll kind of head this direction before we do anything, and we should be able to be in range, I'm thinking anyway. Now this is 2,000 and we've got, I'm gonna guess he's about 2,500, maybe 2,600 away. Let's give it a shot. Just short. So this is the Missouri, okay. Try a little bit further. Okay, so we damaged one of their starboard turrets. And he's just out of range on that side turret. Probably out of range there as well, unfortunately. Okay. Let's check all these. He's just out of range on all of these, I think. Probably should have came at an angle. Yeah, I think that would have been a smarter idea, but that... Got this other transport, so it should be really easy to take down that frigate and that transport. Now we do have our carrier here, so we do have 4 aircraft squadrons that we can send out. We'll go ahead and do an airstrike on our battleship here. This could be tough against our aircraft, though, because it's got plenty of anti-aircraft, I would assume. Probably take some damage. They didn't even drop any bombs or anything like that, so that is unfortunate. Let's go ahead and move as close as we can before we do anything else. Alright, and we will, I think we'll be able to attack. We've got 3,000. Actually, I'm not sure if we will. Let's move it all the way up to 3,000 and see if we can get close. Yeah, we're just short, so I'm going to have to end this turn and wait for the next time. We've got this frigate might be wanting to retreat because, okay, we've got this battleship. He's really worried about this battleship here. It's not going to be easy. It just did like a salvo against our carrier. I mean, I would say when it came to building our fleet, that was the option we would take is... Do we build a battleship or do we build a carrier? And I like to build a carrier, so that's what we did. Got another destroyer. So destroyer taking on a battleship is a tough ask, but we'll see. I would say, what is this, 20 or 2,000? And we've got maybe 2,200. Let's give it a shot. Just short. Yeah, we are not doing very well here, but let's knock it up to 2,500 actually. Okay, we hit him. All right, at least we're getting in there. Let's tweak our angle just slightly and do a salvo shot. We've got, okay, so torpedoes, not in angle, but we might be able to just get in with one of our side turrets here. Unfortunately, just out of range, but let's see if we can get just a little bit more. I think that, yeah, he was to the maximum. Okay, well, we can't do that. These are not any good either. Okay, so we'll end that turn. Now our other transport, which really should not be taking on a battleship. Let's at least move him though. And he's going to be nowhere in range. 2,500. Let's give it a shot, but I think he's way out of range. Yep, way short, so let's go ahead and end this one. And we'll have this destroyer attack this guy right over here. It's about just a little bit more than 2,000. Say 2,100. Maybe not even that. Damage his engine. And we'll do the same thing, just this time a salvo shot. If we can at least take down everything else other than the battleship, I'll feel a whole lot better about this battle. Damage his ammunition. I'd like to be able to do a torpedo, but we're just... Actually, we might be able to if we move, because we haven't used our move yet. Let's head this direction with everything we've got. Are we still going to be, or do we move too much? Nope, I think we're good. Let's go ahead and fire our torpedo. Nice. Okay, well that's good. So we're done with all that. Go ahead and end our turn. And back to our cruiser. Okay. Thinking to move our cruiser. Probably use our side guns on him a little bit here. Just a little bit more than 2,000. So yeah, actually I think I missed, I was going to explain. So the difficulty levels, we've got, I don't know, easy, medium, and hard. We're on the medium, which is called Lieutenant. And this is like where this 2,000 helper comes in. With the easiest mode, you actually get two different helpers, one like 1,500, one 3,000. With the most difficulty, you only get one of these circles, and it'd be one at 1,000 meters. So let's go ahead and fire. Probably do a salvo shot after this. Yeah, let's go ahead and do a salvo. I'm going to give it just a little bit more range though. Maybe not that much. And salvo. Okay. Okay, so that was very good. Very good. I think we had one more shot we can do. Okay. We've got that battleship down to half. Okay. Anything else that we've got? I don't think so. Yeah, just out of range on the angle there. Just out of the angle, line of sight on those turrets. And we'll end turn. This transport's not doing anything. Now our ships, if they do run into each other, do take damage, so it's a good idea to not do that. Let's go ahead and attack. Haven't messed with the angle any. I wasn't sure if that does anything at all. Let's just see what we've got. Maybe it comes in at a different angle. Okay, I see. First time we came in just like straight, so I think we didn't get anything on him. Alright, so we'll use our turrets. They might... No, they're in range. Use that to get it a little bit better. Let's possibly on the long side and go at like 2,400, 2,500. No, we're like 2,600 or so. Still too short. Okay, 2,700, and you can always go a little bit further and at least hit the ship. Yeah, we hit his torpedo launchers. Okay, I think we're out for a carrier. So the Missouri's got... He picked up a strategic card of some sort, and he's actually doing... Alright, so another destroyer. I was gonna say, I didn't notice that that icon had changed on that frigate, denoting that he had been sunk. Okay, so we're really close with our destroyer here, but we'll focus on the battleship first. Let's use a little precision there, and we're probably, let's go 2200. Okay. This battleship might get taken down by a destroyer. We'll see. See what we can do here. Almost there. Almost there. One more shot, possibly. Possibly. I don't think the salvo... Yeah, it only had one shot anyway. It's just going to miss. So our destroyer is not going to be able to take him out. But we should be able to take some shots. No, we're not good. Not going to be able to. What about this torpedo? Actually, look at that. Is that torpedo or is that depth charge? That is a depth charge. Yeah, these are depth charges, not torpedoes. Oops. Yeah, and our transport's just out of range, so trying to cancel out of that. Pressing the wrong button. So yeah, he's out of range. Let's go ahead and end turn, and we will go back to our other destroyer. This guy's gonna take him out, though. Actually, he's way beyond, so let's see if we can get this. Let's try 2700, I think might be okay. Still short. Let's try all the way to 3000. He might be just out of range. It was almost there. I think we might be able to actually hit him if we just get our angle a little bit better. Yes, we did. Okay, there we go. Not torpedoes, though, unfortunately. Okay. Back to our cruiser. Our carrier really is taking quite a beating in this battle. Let's move our cruiser in a little bit closer before we attack. Yeah, we'll be able to take this guy down this time. Should be the one. Makes a little bit more sense with a cruiser taking down a battleship than a destroyer. Or that transport. It almost took him down too. There we go. So we took out the Missouri. Okay. Just have to focus on the little transport vessel over here. Should be real easy. As long as we can actually hit him and get the ranging right. Like we didn't there. A little bit more, like say 2600. There we go. And we'll have our aircraft, I think, unless they're damaged from the carrier when we get to there. Let's see, it's a little bit bad angle on that. Let's fix that. And he fired too far. Okay. I think we're done. Okay. Okay, so we won this one. The Empire of Japan was victorious, so this USS Saturn was able to get away, but we did sink that Missouri. A lot of value there. We got 60 prestige points from all of that. And that fleet retreated to Alaska and Canada, as we can see. So it does look like we're out of time for this episode, but thanks to Mythical City Games, I've got 2 Steam copies of Battlefleet 2 to give away. To enter, please tell me your favorite warship. This can be from any time in history, whether World War I, World War II, or even the modern day. Just leave it in the comments below and you'll be entered in the giveaway, and I'll randomly draw the winner 2 weeks from the date the video was posted. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.